Okay, welcome back to the Coloring Book channel. Today I'm going to do another Batman and Superman sketch. I've found some really nice sketches on a variety of places. This one came from superfuncoloring.com, and they were beautiful sketches, so I thought I would try and give a few of them a coloring job and see how they turned out. So the last one I did was Superman and Batman playing basketball, and they were going hard at it. And then this one is they're also doing a competitive game, trying to arm wrestle. I can't see how Batman wins this, since Superman doesn't ever seem to get tired. And while Batman's got some huge arms in this photo, still I don't think he can overcome the Man of Steel's strength. But we'll see how that turns out. So I'm using markers for this coloring page, and I'm trying to get Batman to be a nice gray. So I picked a cool gray from my marker set, and that looks pretty good for that initial layer here. So I'll just do all of his uniform except for his cape in this dark it's kind of a light gray. It's got a little tint of lavender in it, and it's okay. It's not what I'd call a beautiful color. I would think that maybe a little more lavender or purple mixed in this color might make his outfit look better. I may try that as an overlay after I get the first one to dry, but let's just see how this turns out before I go on to anything else. I've also lately been in the habit of trying to run some commentary while I'm coloring and just have that on the recording. And then if I like how the commentary goes, then I'll leave it. If not, then I'll edit it out and just use music. I'm not sure which the audience prefers yet, so if you could leave me a comment or send me a note or post a note to the coloring book page, then I'd take that into account when I decide, should I do a running commentary? Do people like that, or is that a no starter? Okay, so I got this part of his costume completed, and now I'm going to move from this to his cape. And while I want it to still be gray black, I'm going to try and find one a little bit more purple in it, more violet. Look at my color chart here, and this is what I used. I used CG1, and that seems like about the best that I got on here, but I might try Violet Mist D75 for his cape. I'll see a D75. I don't know what happened to that particular marker. If I don't find it, I'll go with this pale purple. Oh, there's D75. Here we go. Let's try that on his cape. Okay, well, that's definitely different. It's more a lighter purple blue than I really wanted, but I'm gonna just stick with it and see how that turns out. Part of the fun of coloring is to make your own choices and not be stuck with what somebody has done before in terms of coloring that page. And then if I don't like how it turns out, then I can always do it different next time. But sometimes I pick things and they end up looking better than I expected them to after I color it all in. And that might be the case with this because it's starting to grow on me there. I do, now that I've done it, I like the way that one turned out. And I'll probably use that on his glove as well here. Batman has got to be really hot in this costume that he wears because it looks like black leather or even a rubbery material. And his long sleeves, he's got these long gloves, which is great for when you're fighting and punching bad guys. Protects your hands, but the rest of the time, it's got to be super hot inside that costume. Maybe he has some special breathable material and or fans that provide cooling for him. Superman, I'm sure, doesn't need anything like that for his costume because he probably has super cooling going on like he does everything else. He's just such a super guy that no matter what he does, he's got a super power that resolves it. But he's a very likable superhero, so from that perspective, you can't go wrong with Batman. I mean, not Batman, Superman. Batman sometimes is a likable character, and sometimes they've made him really dark and beyond mysterious. He's kind of cruel at times, I think. But sometimes I guess that happens to you when you're fighting bad guys all the time. You get kind of cynical about the world. It's hard to believe that there's so many bad people out there, but there certainly are lots of them. Okay, now this is cherry white. I picked this for his face color, hoping that this is not going to be a big disaster when I put it on there. I smeared a little bit of gray on Batman's face, and that's a bad thing. But now I'm going to take this flesh tone here and do that. What else should I do with his eyes, though? That is the question. I don't really know. Gotta tell you. Seems like his eyes ought to be something that stands out. Maybe I'll use that. I don't know if I'm gonna like that. I'll let it dry. I use that kind of blue. Okay, but that got me started. Now I'm gonna move over here to Superman and do his flesh tones first, since he's got his hand, bare hand out here, gripping the Batman. His flesh tone is a little bit of a red tint or whatnot. Maybe that's from his red sun that he was born under on Krypton. Okay. And I'm going to leave his fingernails and do them a slightly different color. See if I can find a... Let's try this. I have a eggshell white. Let's try that on his thumbnails. See if it makes enough of a difference that they still stand out as a thumbnail. Yeah, they do. That looks pretty good. Now I wish I had done this thumbnail the same color. I'm going to try and put some on top of it now and see if that'll do it. We'll see how that turns out later. Okay, so this hand, I can't see any thumbnail. So I'm going to go back for consistency's sake and use this cherry white. Guess I should have been clued in by the cherry in the title to recognize that this is got a little bit of red in it. There we go. And it's pretty easy. I think this color is light enough that I'll be able to put some shading on top of it and add just a little bit more dimensionality to it. It's eggshell for the thumbnails, flesh pink. It's funny because I thought I used the same color here and there, but this hand looks different than that one. Let's see what I used. These are only 3 colors I've got, and eggshell is what I used on the thumbnails. Maybe this is flesh pink. Let's see. Yeah, this is closer to what Superman's hand looks like up there. So I can make it a little darker just so he matches. We'll let that dry. See how it looks. Okay, now let's move on to Superman's outfit. I think I want to go with a super light blue, and then I can use a darker light blue on other parts and just color right over it. So let's see how that turns out. When you're coloring, it's nice to be able to put down a color and then shade over the top of that color with another one. I see lots of other people's coloring book projects, and they do that. And they're so talented and have such a good eye that their shading makes the picture look beautiful. So I try and copy that technique when I can. Now, some of it is trial and error. You have to do it a few times, mess it up, and then say, okay, next time I won't do it that way, I'll do it this other way. And that's how you learn. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. That looks pretty good. I'm going to keep moving down Superman's arms and make this outfit all this ice blue. This color has so much shade. I mean, this picture has so much shading already just drawn into the picture. They use a lot of black shading. I'd prefer they did just a little bit less and not go so dark with the uniform. So like you can see, it's almost pitch black. You know, just pitch black right there. I wish they would kind of left that a really light gray or something, just to give the person who's coming behind and coloring a few more options. And let us decide what colors we want to use there, because I could use a dark blue there, or something else, and see if that lights up the page a little bit. There we go. I got all of that. Now I want to do his, I'm going to come back to that uniform, but I want to get his cape colored. And I want to do the same thing with his cape. Let's start with a red. So here's my reds that I have. In red, looks a little bit orange on this. I'm not sure that's going to be an effect I like. I'm going to skip that and go with the cherry pink. Let's try that. Hopefully this won't be too dark. It will allow me to do some addition here later. No, that's pretty. That's a pretty red. Okay, that's his cape. I don't really have much of his cape in this drawing to mess with. Got that little bit there, a little bit here. And when you're using markers, you got to be really careful not to get off your location. Because if you do, you're sure to have trouble. It's really difficult to correct marker problems. So now I'm going to take this and very carefully color along the edges here. And this is the difference between a page that looks really nice and a page that looks sloppy, is if you can keep inside the lines so that it doesn't look like you made a lot of mistakes. Okay, so the way this red for the Superman symbol goes is it's like this. The S is red and the border is red, and then these little inside parts are supposed to be yellow. So I gotta make sure I do not cover up the yellow. I don't have the yellow on here yet. But when you add that, that kind of makes it. Okay. There we go. Yes, I'm going to do that. Leave that for now. I don't want to do my yellow yet for his S, because if I do, it might bleed. I'm going to use this canary yellow over here for his belt. I did Batman's yellow and just yellow. But I'm going to try and do canary yellow on Superman's. See what that yellow looks like. Okay. And this looks like a pants loop. Belt loop. Right there. And I'm thinking maybe I do a something special there. do a Persian blue. Let's try that. No. Well, I did that, but that turned out darker than I wanted it to be. And so it lost some of its appeal to me. I'm going to use some of this canary yellow on the sides of this yellow utility belt that Batman has on. See if that adds. I think that adds some nice things to it. I'll try this on Superman's as well. I like that better than what I did here with the blue. But it's a little late to change it now, right? Okay. But I may use this canary yellow and yellow here in the S. Let me get some flesh tones here working on Superman. And his hair, I've got to do something with his hair. Superman's hair is always black, but if you notice in the comics, if you pay attention, it has a tint of blue in it. So I'm going to try and put that tint of blue in these light spots and see if that makes Superman's hair look super cool. Okay. And I'm going to make his eyes blue. Hopefully that looks blue and didn't look crummy. Okay, now I'm going to do a few little shade spots here. With this blue. And see what it looks like. What do you think? Does that help or does that hurt? I'm experimenting here, so I don't really know what this is going to turn out and look like, but I'm going to do some of this around his wrist. Okay, and I'm going to put some of this darker blue on his muscles here. See what that looks like. So on the light spots, this really shows up a lot. But on the dark spots where it was black, painted in, it hardly shows up at all. But I'm thinking that looks better like this than it was with just the light blue. I can add some dimension to it. Okay, I gotta do some little bit more coloring here on this chest. Yeah, that's good. Now, now I'm going to do a flesh tone again. And I'm going to try not to make it... So I made his hands this tan color, which actually isn't so bad. Flesh pink, is that what it was? Or was it... Eggshell was definitely the thumbnails, or was it cherry white? Check my consult with my coloring chart, 378. There it is, almost white. And 367, that's the 367. Yeah, I think that's the color of his hands. So let's stick with that for his face as well. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. He's got a nice ton, and Superman needs to stay out in this. I mean, he's got a nice tan. Superman needs to stay out in the sun anyway, so because the yellow sun is what rejuvenates his strength. So I think it's okay if I made him a little tan here. Leave the whites of his eyes white. I kind of got into it with this flesh tone, and so it may not look quite as good as I want. Okay, that looks pretty good. I may come back and touch it with up to a little brown. That looks pretty good, and I think my yellow's probably dry now. So let's try that. I mean, the red's probably dry, so I can color in the yellow. Be careful not to get into the red. It'll bleed over and it won't look yellow at all. It'll look red. Okay. That looks pretty good. Okay. Now I'm going to use this. I'm going to let that dry a little bit. Let me get a little bit of brown color in his skin. Let's see. I got all of these. What's this one? Well, it's kind of a really, really light, super light brown, like 416. Let's see if I got a 416. I do have a 416. And hopefully that will look like this. It does. I'm gonna take a chance here. Just touch this up on his face. Not a lot. Just a little. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Did I color Batman's face? I don't think I did. Let's give him a, I'm gonna try a milky white on his face. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And I'll use the same brown to touch up his face a touch, just a touch. Okay. So I think that looks pretty good. No, I need to do Superman's hands. What about that? I'm just kind of lightly brushing a little color onto his fingers where the lines from the artist suggest there should be some slight change in color. And see how that turns out. I think it looks good. I think that looks good. Okay. Now we got this table for arm wrestling on. And I'm going to use that opportunity to pick some darker color browns and put some background color here. 410, let's try 410. $410 in this set is cocoa. Now I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it right here. I go to the small tip because I'm working around all of these little screws and whatnot that they've got laying here. I don't know, they're playing some kind of games. I don't want to mess those up. I'll put some different colors on those once I work this brown around all of it. I probably will speed this section up a lot because I've found when I watch my own coloring projects that I find it interesting to watch how I develop the coloring of the characters, their faces, their hands, their outfits, but then once I get to where I'm just doing background things that are just part of the scene, I get bored watching that, and so I like to speed it up and move it along, and makes it more enjoyable.